now we are in a press room and interviewing with the MSB guys. Could you introduce yourself briefly first?
Yeah, definitely. I'm Daniel Goldman. I'm one of the co-owners of MSB and the industrial designer.
I'm Jonathan Goldman. I'm also one of the co-owners of MSB with my brother. And I'm in charge of overseeing product design, development, and sales. So.
In Korean market, they want to know the concept about the new model, the digital director. Can you explain something about the concept of the product?
Yeah, definitely. We've been working on DAC designs for a long time, constantly evolving the architecture. And as we've worked on noise specifically, we found that getting some distance in there and some isolation has been very, very critical. So with the digital director, we're taking a lot of the noisy sources and processing and moving it to a separate chassis with fiber optic isolation. And we've been finding a lot of really great benefits by doing so.
So the director is, as Sue was talking about, his two main functions. It provides the isolation from USB sources, servers, computers, transports, home networks, and the DAC, which now the DAC is more of an analog component than a digital. But the second process is the digital filtering. So it uses brand new DSPs that run at 1 gigahertz that are like 8 times more processing power than what's in the Premiere DAC. And so it does a much better job doing the digital filtering. So, and we don't want to move those processors into the same chassis because they're much higher speed and higher performance, which means they actually generate a little more noise in the device themselves. So we keep it in a separate chassis, and with it we've vastly improved the performance of all of our products.
So first one, the isolating the outside noise, and the second one, with the DSP, you just filter the digital signal in the digital director, right?
Yes.
Then in the DAC is just dedicated to the digital analog converting. Is that the right concept?
Yes. Yeah, so what's left in the DAC is the digital to analog conversion with our DAC modules, the analog outputs, and the clock. So the clock, even though it's a digital thing, is more analog than digital. And so having noise in the box is never a good thing. And that clock feeds back over our fiber to the director. So the director is running off the core clock in the DAC.
And the director has branched with the 3 models, right? The Select and the Reference and Premiere as well. Can you tell us about the difference between them?
Yeah, the Premiere director is our most entry-level director. Comes with a switching power supply. That we had to do that to get the form factor compact enough to go with the Premiere DAC. And then the Reference and Select are actually identical electrically. So the chassis differences are just for system matching. So there's no performance incentive to go for a Select over the Reference. But they have built-in low noise power supplies, all in-house design, and we found a lot of feedback so far that says it's a big improvement to have those linear supplies.
So the first change between the Reference and the Select digital director is quite not much difference between them.
No, yeah, it's just the physical chassis to match the system that it's going with.
Yeah.
Move on to the DAC. In Korean market, MSB DAC is one of the well-known products in the market. But would you like to say something more about the DAC as well into the Korean market?
Sure.
Well, you said sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the modular design of our DACs is really at the core of our design ethos. Like, it's something we really, really focus on, and also supporting the DACs that we have in the market. So with the digital director, it's designed to go with existing systems, and so that's very important to us. And it's just one of the ways that we can continue to support our customers and this digital director, in combination with the existing DACs, has been just really a remarkable upgrade and update that refreshes it to a new DAC, and that's been very exciting.
Yeah. That was one of the main goals. Instead of coming out with a new DAC model and rendering all our current stacks, old, we came out with the digital director that really takes every DAC and makes it a new model, because it splits the two technologies apart. And this way, if you have an MSB DAC, you don't need to buy the next version. You get the director and it makes it the next version. Mm-hmm. So, just like with our input modules, if there's a new network format, you don't need to buy a new DAC. You just buy a new network module. If there's a new USB format, again, you can just buy the USB module. You don't have to replace the whole DAC. And so it really allows our DAC, even though the model number doesn't change, every time we have a new interface or a new format, it's like a new model DAC. So the director really just took all of our products and relaunched them, and now they're basically new DACs when paired with the director.
Also, it would be really nice if you describe about the R2R concept as well.
Yeah, so our DAC modules are all ladder DACs. They are not R2R DACs. So R2R is your basic variation of a ladder DAC. The exact topology, we don't go into the details, but all I can say is it is not a basic R2R DAC. Those have problems for our audio, but the one thing that's unique about our modules is they're both native PCM DACs or native DSD DACs. So they can either be reconfigured to be a massive parallel single-bit DAC for DSD, or they're a multi-bit PCM DAC. So depending on what we want to play through them, we can reconfigure them to either be one or the other, which is kind of unique, because before, if it was a PCM DAC, it did PCM, or it was DSD. Ours do both, and they do both natively. So the other thing about each of our DAC modules is they're equivalent to like two of our older designs in the fact that they're a full balanced DAC from the very point of conversion. So each DAC module actually does the positive and minus phases simultaneously. So like in the select DAC with 8 modules, it actually has 16 independent DAC channels playing through it. So it's really like paralleling 16 DACs together, not 8.
Is there a lot of hardware difference between the Premiere District Director and 래퍼런스 or Select District Director as well? Between the Premiere District Director and Select?
Yes, so they run the same software. So you can use any director with any of our current products. But the main difference is the size of the chassis, and the Premiere having the switching integrated power supply versus the linear power supply in the reference and select.
Finally, would you like to leave some comment for the Korean fans?
Go for it.
Well, we're really excited for the feedback and reception we've received for our DACs in Korea, and we've now shipped a number of digital directors, and we're excited to get some more feedback on how those have been performing in Korea as well. And just want to say thank you for all the support.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.